Well, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm here with my new friend Adrian. And Adrian, where did we meet at Red Table, or I can't remember where I met you?
Probably Red Table.
I think it was Red Table. You walked by and started chatting, and like I do with almost everybody, I try and talk them into coming on my show. So thank you for coming. And you have a YouTube channel too, right?
Yeah, that's right. AJ's Philippine Expat Footsteps.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more time.
AJ's Philippine Expat Footsteps.
Okay, so check that out, guys. We'll put a link in the description so you can check out Adrian's channel. What do you do? What's your theme?
Yeah, well, it's more about experiences, places, and activities. So I believe that showing is better than telling. Yeah.
Okay. So you're from Australia. And what did you do back in Australia?
A whole bunch of things. You know, I've done embarrassingly door-to-door sales. I've driven.
That's got to be hard.
I've done deliveries on a little Honda Cub 80cc. I've done concreting and welding. But I think my main career was because I had an environmental management postgrad degree, and I ended up working in agriculture, which is great.
Yeah.
And so I would help farmers better understand dealing with weeds and soil issues and livestock issues and all sorts of stuff. It was a really mixed, interesting job. And I ended up as a mid-level manager in an NGO managing the agricultural side. Yeah.
There's a lot of invasive species in Australia, isn't there? Does that affect like crops and stuff? I saw something about the cane toad and some other species that were there that they and rabbits.
Rabbits, cats, like you name it. It's a big environmental threat in Australia. Yeah.
And so you left that, and what brought you to the Philippines?
Well, there's I guess a couple of things. I mean, no one would move here for just one reason, I guess. When I was in my early 20s, you know, I just finished my undergrad degree and I wanted to travel. So I just got a one-way ticket to Indonesia, ended up teaching English there near Jakarta. And I lived there for 18 months, lived in South Korea for a year, Switzerland for 6 months and stuff. Came home back to Australia to raise a family and develop a career. But now that my youngest kid had grown up and left the house and got his own job and car and everything, I thought...
Oh, you don't look old enough to have a child that's...
Yeah, I started early, which was a good thing. Yeah. Don't wait until you're 40 to have kids. Anyway, and I really wanted to travel again, you know. Yeah, so that was part of it. Also, I was kind of sick of relationships that you get, like romantic relationships that you get in Australia. That's probably a common theme with men here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And also, just being aware of the family history of mortality. Like my father died when he was 53. He came home from work on Friday afternoon and died before dinner.
Wow, 53.
Yeah. And
what was it?
Heart disease, yeah.
Oh.
So I try to have a pretty healthy diet, but like I realized I can't keep working. He didn't get to retire or travel ever, right? So I have to do it. I have to retire now so I can retire if I die at 53, right?
How old are you now?
I'm 47.
Well, you're young.
Yeah. Ish. Youngish, yeah.
I don't know. I remember turning 30 and thinking I was old and life is over, and then I turned 40 and oh no, you know, and somebody put an ad in the paper said happy 40th Mark, and I was so embarrassed. And then 50, you know, I thought, you know, life is completely over. And now I'm 67. I don't even think about it anymore.
No, it just gets better.
Yeah, it does actually, you know. I think because you just don't give a shit about what other people think anymore.
Yeah.
And so you start just focusing on the things that matter and living in the moment. At least that's what I do.
And as you you reach your 40s, and I'd probably be better at your 50s, you have more like you feel more self-empowered, you've got more money, you've got more confidence.
Yeah.
You know?
And so you're retired.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything as far as income or work or anything, or?
No. Yeah, some of my former colleagues at university in Australia are trying to get me to apply for a PhD scholarship. So that'll be extra income, good income by Philippine standards, but that'll really keep me busy for the next 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
And so you'd be going to school here?
Oh no, it's research degree, higher research degree.
Oh.
So it's just you become the world expert in one topic, and they pay you to do that.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never heard of that.
that's just the way it is. PhDs, yeah.
I didn't even get my associate's degree, so what do I know?
Yeah, so I'm trying because it's like the Australian scholarship is worth 80,000 pesos per month, which will be on top
Whoa.
of my existing income. So it's great,
Whoa.
right?
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
And you get to pick your subject?
yeah.
Wow. Have you thought about it, like what you might do or any?
Yeah, like because of my environmental and agriculture background, like I became a specialist in carbon stuff. So towards the end of my career before I moved here, I was giving farmers business advice on how to participate in carbon markets and avoid the pitfalls and make the most money out of it, you know.
Yeah.
So I would do a PhD on making corporate carbon reporting much easier. Yeah. And I'd contrast the Philippines and Australia as well.
I've got some friends that have PhDs at Silliman, that are marine biology and things like that, so
Yeah.
it might be interesting to talk to. So you've been in the Philippines for a few months,
Oh no, well, coming up on 10 months?
10 months, okay,
Yeah.
10 months, long time. And now, someone told me that in Australia, as far as like the pension, when you're eligible for, you have to go back and actually live in Australia for so many years or something to get it. Like I had a friend of mine who was in his 60s, and he had to leave the Philippines and go back and reside in Australia for, I think, 2 years or something before, otherwise you wouldn't get his pension. Is that?
Yeah. Look, I'm so far away from getting a pension that I've never actually looked into it. So you're asking the wrong guy.
Oh.
Because the year that you can get a pension keeps getting pushed back. It was 65, now it's 67.
Oh,
By the
gosh.
time I reach 67, if I do, it'll be 70 or
Right.
75
Yeah.
because the pensions are getting too expensive. So that's why in America you've got this 401k thing.
Yeah,
is
that's
it?
something you do through your work, though.
Yeah, it's pretty much same in Australia. It's called superannuation. So I'm not allowed to get that money until I'm 60 or 65. Yeah,
You get a one lump sum or payments?
you can get it either way, I think. Yeah, but it's still a long way from where I am right now.
Well, that's nice. Huh.
Yeah.
And so I saw you got a big motorcycle out there.
Oh, it's
What is it,
smaller than the one I had in Australia. I had a 4-cylinder 1000cc jet bike, but
Wow.
now I never had a mid-range twin, so now I do. Yeah.
And see, in the Philippines, the 650 is a huge bike. Everybody else is, 125s, 150s, and
Yeah.
250 is a big bike here.
And I love it because you can overtake everything really easily with that power to weight ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you had any close calls?
A couple, but it's the first bike I've had that's got ABS, and it's amazing. Your stopping distance is so much shorter. Yeah.
And so what happened? Like a dog come out in front of you, or a car, or what?
Yeah, I was overtaking a van, because I hate vans. You can't see the road in front of you if
I
you're
know, I
behind
do
a
too,
van or
yeah.
a truck. And I was overtaking it, but I didn't see there was a big SUV turning into its driveway. So it was sideways to me, and I was coming
no.
at it pretty fast. And I just jammed the brakes on. The ABS made the back wheel skip, jump a little, but it didn't lock and slide, thank goodness. And I stopped with 3 meters space spare.
Good.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, there's been quite a few guys here who got seriously injured on bikes, but usually they're either going too fast,
Yeah.
not paying attention, or alcohol was involved,
Yeah, alcohol's involved.
Yeah.
And look, I put a lot of pressure on my girlfriend to always wear a helmet. She's,
me too.
she's got a nice, flip front dual visor, pink girly helmet. But sometimes I'm just going down to the sari store, I won't wear it. But a couple of weeks ago, one of her good friends died because she was riding this scooter at night, alcohol was involved, hit a dog, no helmet, dead. It's just how it is, right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
sad.
I'm the same way with my wife. It's like, she can't go anywhere without the helmet on.
Yeah.
I don't care. My father got killed on a bicycle. Same thing, no helmet on. Little tiny bump on his head.
Yeah.
Ended up in intensive care. One thing led to another, and a month and a half later, took him off life support.
Yeah, that's...
Helmet will save your life, especially here. I see people driving around with a helmet, and it's not fastened.
Yeah.
So if they hit the ground, it's just going to bounce off. It's like...
Well, if they fall off the bike, the helmet's going to fall off their head.
Yeah, but they don't even think about that.
No.
So, did you have any trouble finding a place to live here?
Not really, because I came in March when there was a lot of vacant places. Like, it would have been even better in February because there were so many vacancies. I was in a hotel for 2 weeks first, really desperate to get out of that place, just on a rented scooter. And it was pretty easy because you could just look online and there were so many vacant apartments and places, right?
Yeah.
And the prices were still pretty good. I first moved into a place called Pana Vista up north of Valencia. It was really nice, 2-story house, spacious, only 5 apartments there with their own private pool, very quiet, beautiful view of the volcano out the kitchen window, But it was, I could get a much cheaper place. It was 25,000 pesos a month, and I could get somewhere almost as nice for 15,000.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so I moved, after a month.
Yeah, there's plenty of places here, because the thing is, when COVID hit, thousands of people left the Philippines, and they never really came back.
No.
I've mentioned before in several videos, and I go to immigration. When I first came, you have to wait 2 or 3 hours sometimes to renew your visa because so many guys down there. Now you walk down there any time of day, any day of the week, and you walk right in, the guard fills your form out for you, and that just tells you there's less people here.
Yeah, and I think the longest I've waited is 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I've also noticed that, because I still have friends at all the places I used to live when I first came here. This is my 4th apartment, and the rents have not gone up. They're still charging the same at Dulce Vita when I lived there 4 years ago. So in America, rents are gone up really expensive. Same
as Australia. I keep reading the Aussie news, and it's every day there's a story about the housing crisis, rental crisis,
Yeah, I heard Australia. I've been there many times on cruise ships, but it's been probably 6 years since I've been there. Is it getting really expensive there, like everything, like food and rent and everything?
Yeah, I mean, the recent inflation on top of it. But look, housing prices apparently have come back a little bit, but there's no intergenerational equity, right? It's probably the same in the US and Canada and other Western countries, but the house prices have gone up so much that in the big cities like Sydney or Melbourne, a cheap house is $1 million.
Oh, wow.
And since when can a 25-year-old who's finished their apprenticeship or uni, in their first job or whatever, how can they get a loan for $1 million? Impossible.
The wages are high there, aren't they? Like, what's minimum wage in Australia, say if you're working at the mall or something?
Minimum wage is about $23, $25 an hour.
Oh, see, that's like twice what it is in America.
Yeah, it's a lot higher than the US. I mean, the parity of the Aussie dollar is usually lower than the US. So, but anyway, it's still...
But you're not buying $1 million house.
No, you can't, no. And it's so unfair. And
how about the credit in Australia? Is it hard to get loans for things like apartments or like...
No, it's okay, but you need a deposit and you need proof of income, and then you can usually
get it. What do they
it.
want down in Australia? Is it 10%, 20%?
10%.
Yeah, same
but
in America.
10% of $1 million, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to save that up.
Yeah, it's hard to save up.
Yeah.
Now, did you have a house in Australia?
Yeah, I had a... Because I don't like living in big cities. That's why I'm in Dumaguete. I just in Launceston, northern Tasmania. Really nice sort of old historic.
I've been in Tasmania.
Yeah,
reminded me a lot of Southern California for some reason, the climate and everything. And I went to a outdoor market type thing they were having. They were having like crafts and artwork and stuff, and it was really cool, you know, just in Hobart. It was really nice.
Tasmania is really friendly, beautiful environment. Like it's not. The wages are lower, the teen pregnancy rates are higher, the literacy rates are lower. You know, it's a beautiful place. They export a lot of salmon and crayfish and cheese, and you know.
It's got a very different feel from Australia and New Zealand too. It's got its own personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
And it's only 500,000 people in the whole state.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, is Tasmania part of Australia, or is it a separate country?
No, it's a state of Australia.
That's what I thought.
Still, yeah. But yeah, I sold my house and quit my job and sold my car and everything, ready to move to the Philippines. But the first sale, the first contract to buy my house fell through. And so I had to put it back on the market for another few weeks. So by the time that it was sold, international borders had already closed. And I was homeless and unemployed at the start of the COVID pandemic.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Jeez. For what, 2 years?
No. It was a bit of a shock to the system, though.
I bet.
Yeah, and I was so pissed off I didn't get to move here. But the thing is, I would have gotten here and it would have been a disaster anyway. I would have been in lockdown in the Philippines. And
It wasn't so bad.
yeah. Well, actually, it wasn't so bad for me because the way it worked out, I wasn't ever under lockdown for 2 years.
Where did you live?
Well, I went to a town called Nambucca Heads. It's in the sort of the middle of, well, between Sydney and Brisbane, about halfway on the coast. Nice beaches, beautiful big river, dolphins and stuff. Bit of a retirement village. And I stayed with my mum downstairs in her big house for a while. I got some consulting work, which was pretty good. I was doing okay though, because the stock market, I mean, that's why I'm retired now. The equity from selling my house, I got that big injection of cash at the very moment that the stock markets around the world lost 70 or 80% of their value.
Right.
So I could buy blue chip banking shares and mining shares and all that sort of stuff at bargain basement prices. And it sprung back up again at an annualized rate of about 140% return on my investment.
Wow. Wow.
Winner, winner, right?
So it worked out for you, huh?
Yeah, it worked out. I made a lot of money in COVID.
It's funny that sometimes when something goes wrong, you think, oh, this just screwed up my whole life. And it turns out making you make decisions you might not have made otherwise.
Yeah.
And look how well it turned out for you. Now, before you came to the Philippines, did you do a reconnaissance trip over here and check it out?
I did quite a few, yeah.
Okay, so you came here first.
Yeah. Oh, just to follow up on that pandemic thing, but I moved, my old job, they invited me back with a pay rise to work for them again, and I also got a second job working for the local university, so I kept me busy but saving more money again. But yeah, 2018 was when I first came here. So I just finished a long relationship with an Aussie woman that didn't end well. It was pretty unsatisfactory, you know. And I figured, well, my son's 17, he can look after himself if I'm away for a few weeks, right? So I came here and I met a lovely young lady, and I came back again and came back again, because I had long service leave. And that really made up my mind. You know, I was going to retire early because, you know, I could after the COVID pandemic, and I was going to do it in the Philippines.
And you came to Dumaguete.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I'd watched a lot of YouTube videos, you know, all the tubers here in Dumaguete, there's so many. YouTube capital of the Philippines, right?
This is true.
Yeah. And it made sense to me because, like, it's the same sort of population size as Launceston anyway. I don't like big cities. You know, I spent time living in Seoul and Jakarta when I was young, and I just prefer not to do that anymore. And I talk about that in some of my videos, why Dumaguete is good, you know.
Yeah, I ended up here the same reason. Saw videos on it on YouTube, and I didn't have the luxury of being able to financially afford to like bounce around all over the Philippines and check out different places. So I kind of used these other guys' channels who had been everywhere, and they decided to settle in Dumaguete. And said, "Well, I'll come here first," but I was going to go into Thailand. I was just going to stay here for a couple of weeks, and the first couple of weeks were up, but then it just kept getting better and better, and it's continued for me. Now it's been 4 years, and my life just keeps getting better here. I got lots of friends, and so I'm going to stay. Now, do you have any plans to travel or get married or have family here or anything like that? Or
No, not really. In terms of the start a new family, I've been there and done that. I don't want to do it again. Traveling, yeah, sure. It's just hard at the moment because my girl's in university now and studying 6 days a week, crazy hours, and that makes it pretty hard to travel.
So you want to Silliman?
Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's she studying?
It's tourism management degree.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted her to get into nursing, but that was already full, so this was the second choice.
That's a big change.
But she can change into a different subject next year, so it's okay.
So, has she ever talked about going to Australia and taking her there and showing?
Yeah, look, of course she'd love to. It's just a little bit hard to get a visa.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's real hard in America.
Yeah.
Now, do you think you'll ever travel with her, like, Europe or Asia? Other parts of Asia?
Other Asian countries. Like, in 2 years when I've got to go do my visa run, for example, go to China or Singapore, not China, but Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore, or whatever. Of course, I'll take her. Yeah.
You think you'll get married, or haven't decided?
Yeah. Well, I got down on a knee and gave her a ring already.
Oh, wow! So congratulations.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And so, have you got any hobbies and stuff? What do you do to keep busy?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you've got to. Otherwise, you're down at the boulevard drinking beer at 7 o'clock in the morning, right?
True.
Yeah. Which some people like. I mean, maybe it's great. I don't know. I haven't tried it. Yeah. I mean, I like my motorbike. I've got a decent sized bike, and so traveling around is good fun. And look, I think some of the top 3 happiest moments I have here in the Philippines is when I'm on a bike and I'm riding through a beautiful place with beautiful trees and grass and that tropical greenery beauty, and I just fills my heart with happiness and satisfaction.
I've got to introduce you to my friend Mark Harrow. He's also from Australia.
Yeah.
And I did a video. He's got 6 motorcycles, all new ones.
Yeah, he's not the only one with 5 or 6 bikes,
but he travels around a lot. He likes to go on trips.
Yeah.
I've gone on a couple with him, but for me, it's like those days are over. It's like my hand gets sore from the clutch, and my back hurts, and my legs hurt, and I say, just those days are over.
Yeah, and my seat height is really tall on that bike, so I'm eventually going to get to an age where I simply can't swing my leg over it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there right now. Sometimes I have trouble getting my leg over, but then getting off the bike is a problem, So, I don't know. I'll probably end up going to a scooter eventually, and then to a car.
I'll just go to a cruiser, like a low seat sort of thing, a chopper.
Oh God.
Yeah.
But
so that's one hobby. I really like freediving. So there's so many little coral reserves and places around here, and further afield, go to Sipalay, go to other places on Negros, down to Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, I've been there.
And it's great fun. There's so many fish. Even if some of the half the corals are broken or more because of whatever dynamite fishing or the super typhoon, I don't know what. But there's still a lot of beautiful, colorful fish here.
Yeah, and Darwin's got some great diving in Apple Island, and
Yeah.
I get every once in a while we get the free divers out here. I see them because they got the big long fins.
Yeah. I bought some of them recently. Yeah.
That's where I met you, at the
meet and greet thing.
The meet and greet. That's right. I meet so many people. I'm sorry. I meet so many people every day.
It's hard.
And you were coming out of the ocean, and you had those great big long fins, and I was joking with you about the fins.
Yeah, that's right. You and Paul were joking,
Paul.
saying my fins aren't long enough or something.
That's right. You were standing. Was it back in?
Baku Beach.
Baku Beach. Yeah. Were you actually staying there or just snorkeling there? Or
no, just snorkeling there. Because I think if we're going to have a meet and greet barbecue drinks thing at this beach resort, why not bring my fins and snorkel?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It all comes back to me now, okay. Do you get a chance to try the pastries that were there?
I did, yeah. I had like a chocolate croissant sort of thing.
Amazing. Yeah, that guy, he's from Paris. He's a Paris pastry chef.
Yeah.
You can't get nothing like that here in Dumaguete. And
I could
they were
taste it.
free.
Yeah.
I tried one. I wish I had brought a bag with me. I would have stuffed a few of them in there, you know.
Yeah.
But those were amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got another one of those coming up in February. We'll probably do it at Ground Zero.
All right, cool.
So you're doing the free diving, you got your bike, and
Yeah, and like I'm really glad I brought my powerful gaming PC with me from Australia, because with my girl like at university so often, so like early in the morning till late at night now, most of the time, I'm really glad that I can, it doesn't matter if it's raining or whatever, I can entertain myself or play online games with, you know, my family and friends. And
what kind of games you play?
yeah, like I prefer like a strategy type games, and because I'm a bit older now, the games the kids play, my reaction time's not what it used to be.
Yeah, when I used to tutor English, and there once I have to talk to children, which even though I said I don't want any children, I'd get a kid.
Yeah.
I remember like a boy from Saudi Arabia that's like, 8 years old, and they were all playing Fortnite,
Yeah.
which is like a violent war type game, right?
Or shooting each other, yeah.
Shooting each other, like those kind of games, which I guess for your boy, that's what you want to do. See, for me in video games, you're too young to remember this, but it goes all the way back to a game called Pong.
I remember Pong.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the 70s, And
Yeah, I was there in the 70s, the second half of it.
yeah, you go to a bar, put a quarter in, and there's a table type thing. You just sit down and play it. And
Yeah, and you got the
Pong,
joystick
real
and two buttons or whatever. And like then there was Space Invaders.
yeah, that was a big jump forward. Space Invaders came out.
Asteroids, Pac-Man. Yep.
Pac-Man, yeah. Yeah, kids would go and pump quarters in those machines.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for sharing your story, and hope to get to know you better, and good luck with your channel. We'll put a link to it. Everybody check out his channel and subscribe and like his videos, and help him out, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing.
Cool, Mark. All right. See you guys.